Hey guys, and welcome to this week's little vlog. So we are now 16 weeks out from show number 1, or just under 16 weeks out now. I was 16 weeks out on Sunday and it is now Tuesday. So I thought I'd just have a little bit of a day with me. I'm not gonna lie, it is like 12 o'clock already, but I've shown you what I do in the mornings a lot. So I've got up, cardio, done my work, my check-ins are all done for the day. I'm literally just making my meal up because it is a beautiful day. I've got my shorts on. I'm on a rest day today and I'm gonna go and take my meal down to the park and eat it outside because why not? I'm gonna try and enjoy myself and just have a little bit of chill time. So I thought I'd just check in now. I do plan on doing a little 4-week update. So once I've had my meal, been for my steps, I will probably just chat you through where I'm at, what's happened in 4 weeks, and if I can get Nikki on later on, I will get him to give you coach's perspective of where we're at. But I didn't have any weight loss this week, so we're just seeing how it goes. We have made some small changes now. We made changes pretty much every week. My body isn't responding the quickest, and that's definitely something I'll go into later. Yeah, in fact, I'm not going to get into that now. It's a lovely day. I've got my shorts on. I am having some slight, like I know this doesn't look big, but my stomach has been really flat for the last kind of week or two. And then like yesterday, I was actually in bed early, not feeling well at all. I had a headache. I didn't feel great. I felt quite sick. And I'm just still really bloated today. And I don't understand because I eat the same thing all the time. It might be stress. Let's be honest, it's probably stress. I'm a stress head. So yeah, that's something I'm trying to deal with, which is why I'm taking my meal outside and going to chill out because my body is telling me that it's not happy. So Zen Jenny incoming. Okay, so I'm just now about to walk to the park. It's literally around the corner. So I don't have far to walk. I was trying to find a backpack, so I've got a handbag, like a bit of a dick, but I couldn't find a backpack apart from like the massive meal prep bags, and it just seemed a bit excessive. So I'm just off to the park and yeah, get some steps in, catch up on some admin and just little life bits because I have a little bit of free time. It's rest day. I did a Q&A on my Instagram, so I'll maybe get back to some of those and yeah, just enjoy having a bit of chill time because everything seemed a bit manic and I have a really busy weekend coming up, so I want to make sure that I'm just kind of enjoying a little bit of me time and being able to kind of gather my thoughts because prep is one of those times when it just gets so busy and there's so much going on that little moments like this they make a difference. Okay, so I'm just going to talk you through my prep so far. I'm going to try and keep it concise. I've got my air fryer on, so I can't do it for a long time because my meal will be due. But it's only been 4 weeks, and I feel like a lot of people expect miracles to happen really fast when you're in a fat loss phase, and especially when you're using like extreme like a prep. You would expect things to be moving really kind of fast, but I've got 20 weeks to get stage ready, and it doesn't make sense to absolutely destroy myself in the first 10 weeks, my health to suffer, my training to suffer. So the whole reason we took a 20-week prep was to do it slowly. Also a little bit because I wasn't in the best starting position in terms of I was a little bit less lean than we would have, or a little bit not as lean as we would have liked. I don't know how to word that. Basically, I had more body fat than we wanted, ideally, to start this prep with, but it is what it is. I needed my health back. I needed my hormones back, and that was kind of a priority. I also need my mental health back on track. Again, I will go into what happened post-show that led me down that road in a few videos time. But anyway, where we started is where we started. And what I'm going to do now is I will pop up some pictures on the screen. So I'll put them over here. So this is where I started my prep, and this is me now. So I'll give you my front pose and my back pose. So I am leaner, my stomach is flatter, and things are going in the right direction, but I would have liked to be a bit leaner just with how things are going. Our thoughts were, what we've done is, we know my body does not respond well to like just food drops alone. I need that momentum going. I need the cardio. I need to get my heart rate up. I've tried to do mini cuts and things before with no cardio, and it never works. Cardio is one of those things that it's a tool that really helps my fat loss, and it's something I'm more than prepared to do, and I know that going into a prep. So cardio has been in from day one. We started off doing it just 5 days a week, and then I think 2 weeks ago it went in every day, and now cardio is in every day. I'm up to 40 minutes. I've just changed to the Stairmaster, which is an experience. I've never used the Stairmaster before. I've always on a treadmill, but for some reason the treadmills at the gyms were hurting my shins, so I'm onto a Stairmaster, which is definitely hard, and I'm going to have to be careful with my joints because I can feel it starting to affect my knees a little bit, which isn't great, but it's that or shin splints. And if you ever had shin splints, you know the pain. So that's my options. Food has barely changed. We've been trying to keep food high to keep my performance there, and for the first 3 weeks of prep I dropped 700 grams exactly every week. I do not weigh every day and take an average or everything like that. I get in my own head if I weigh every day. It's useful to see the fluctuations, don't get me wrong, and to be honest, like when I start to do more frequent check-ins, it definitely helps, but at the moment I don't really have I only have check-ins once a week because I'm still 16 weeks out. It's not beneficial quite yet for me to be having twice a week check-ins, especially when Nikki sees me all day every day. So yeah, it's just one of those things that I just take away. And then this week I was up very slightly, but I knew that something wasn't right, so we'll see how this week goes. I have a feeling that next week will be when the hammer drops in terms of food, and I kind of want it to. We do not want to be dieting right up until show day. It's not going to give you the best look. If you've ever dieted before, basically you always look worse on the way down than when you do on the way back up. So like when you come out of a diet and you manage it properly and you do a good reverse diet, you actually look better for those first few weeks because your body's being fed and it's happy. And then when you're on the way down, you have to deplete yourself so your muscles look flatter. So at the moment I'm flat, I'm not looking super great, and we don't want to be dieting all the way down until the show and then have the look be worse because that last week was spent digging and not spent resting. So we definitely, well, I say we, it's not in my control. I'll see what Nikki says, but I have a big suspicion that this week there will be some changes. I'm ready for it. I've been hungry a bit, but I've not been starving. And something that's playing on my mind is that last year in my off season, I didn't go above, I think I was 87.7. No, not 87. What am I talking about? 58. I was 58 kilos in my off season at the height. This year I got to 64. So I was 6 kilos heavier in my off season this year, and I was bigger. But I was also on more food, and I was also stronger, and I've definitely built muscle. I know that, I can see that in my body, but at the same time I'd really like to get below 50 kilos soon because I know that my stage weight will be in the 50s somewhere. And so the first year I competed at 50 kilos. The second season, which was last year, I competed at 52 kilos ish, and then this year it kind of looks at the moment like I'll be competing somewhere a bit above that, just from what my weight's doing, but you don't know. But I'm trying to tell myself that, but at the same time, when I'm into the 50 kilo mark, like 59, 58, I'll know that it's close, and that will be that kind of mental barrier for me. So yeah, I'm excited and I'm nervous, and it's funny because 16 weeks seems like the longest time in the world, but I know it will fly by. And also, like, those first 4 weeks, it's almost like you're treading water because you don't see those big kind of changes. Like, when you get to the last 4 weeks of prep, you see changes like daily or every few days. You're like, oh, I'm leaner, or oh, I'm flatter, or like there's always something happening. But like right now, it's just like rinse and repeat, trust the process. And it's the same with any diet. You just have to trust it and be like, I know this is working, I trust my coach, and I know that Nikki's gonna give me like exactly what I need, and he's not gonna ever like, I don't know how to word this apart from this, but he's not going to pussyfoot around me. He tells me how it is. We've already had the discussion about how the fact that I did get a bit too soft in my off season, that I need to be leaner soon. And we've talked about that. So yeah, that's kind of my little prep update. But prep's been good. My mindset for prep has been good as well. My mindset in general has been a bit rubbish recently, which is not like me. I'm normally so good with it. But prep has kept me going. Prep, and it's funny when I get a bit down, people are like, oh, is it prep? And I'm like, no, prep's fine. Love prep. Absolutely love it. Cardio is great. Cardio makes me in such a good mood every single day. I never get off that Stairmaster or treadmill and think, ugh, I hated that. Even when I hated it, I loved it because I'm like, I've accomplished something. I'm ready to really push. And I know that Nikki's probably really ready to push me as well. So I'm excited for next week's check-in, and I'm excited to see what Nikki says. I might even leave him the camera and take myself away from it. I'll see what he's game for. But anyway, I hope that was interesting. Hello, I have a confession. I completely forgot that I was vlogging on Tuesday and just full on forgot to film anything else. So it is now Thursday. And I thought I would just pop on because there's been a few changes in the last couple of days. So on Tuesday, I remember saying in my little update that I was feeling like things hadn't changed too much. I'd like them to go a bit quicker and things like that. And literally since then, like, so on Wednesday, I went in to train back, and I was like, wow, I can actually see my shoulders for the first time this prep. My arms felt leaner. I could just see more. They looked smaller. And then I've also been noticing my stomach. I'm starting to get some more definition. I mean, you won't be able to tell now. But no, you can't tell at all in this light. But yeah, I have been noticing some more definition. I've been feeling tighter and I'm feeling good. And I also didn't include Nikki's roundup, so I'm just gonna go and pop the camera down in front of Nikki and he can tell you what he thinks. But I'm actually checking in tomorrow, which will make me like my just below 15 weeks out check-in, and I'm guessing there is going to be some changes still. But let's go and have a chat with him and see what he's got to say. Can you sit with your legs anymore closed?
No. I actually can't. It feels like I'm doing an abductor and doing that. I actually never noticed. I can't even put my legs together.
Okay.
It's my first coffee since Sunday.
Oh my god, yeah, I forget you've got oven morning coffee. Oh, is it good?
Yeah. First drink was like having an espresso.
It is a double shot Americano.
Nice.
So it's good. Okay, so I'm here with Nikki, coach slash boyfriend.
Slash boyfriend.
Slash boyfriend. Boyfriend slash coach. I'm just going to ask him, because I know he will be honest, how would you say the first 4 weeks of my prep have gone compared to what you expected to happen?
Just a little bit more stubborn than we anticipated. Got Jenny's food up a good amount before the prep started, so it should have been just falling off the first few weeks, but weight's not dropped an awful lot. You know, the first few weeks kind of you anticipate not looking much better anyway, because you're starting to flatten out a touch. You're not got as much carbs in the muscle as when you're at the peak of your off season. Also introducing some cardio, when carbs are down, you're inevitably going to drink more water because you're you're a little bit more hungry. When carbs are high, you're not drinking as much water. So all these things, combined, makes you appear a little bit flatter, and you're also not lean yet. So the skin's not thin, but the muscles are a little bit deflated. The look's not great in their first few weeks as you're transitioning from off season into the prep, before you start kind of finding your groove where the skin does start thinning out.
Yeah, I've been in that like kind of flat but fat stage for a while, which
I wasn't going to say that, but yeah, the flat but flat stage.
The flat but fat stage, like it's. I'm not necessarily saying that I am fat, but I've got a lot of body fat still, and my muscles aren't full. So.
But I can see in the last actually 2 to 3 days, Jenny's starting to look like she's losing. You can tell she's losing inches around her waist, and her arms are looking like. They're not like she's losing size or fullness there, but everything's looking that bit more compact.
Yeah, I like to say that I now look like I lift. Like for those first few weeks.
What I was trying to get at there, starting to see like the delt, the kind of the cap of the delt starting to show, which in the last couple of weeks, because she's been flat but not lean, it's not been as apparent, but now the skin's starting to thin. She's not lean yet, but it's starting to show, especially when she's training.
You can now see I have muscle, whereas before, like there was shape there, but you couldn't actually see the muscle itself.
Yeah.
And then one thing I wanted to talk, because I chatted about this a little bit on Tuesday when I filmed, was about keeping my food high but also pushing cardio high, and I just wanted to see if you had anything else to add.
Just because I feel like in this period, I mean, you're 15 weeks out this Saturday coming, there's still the ability to grow. Like, we shouldn't just be thinking this is solely fat loss now. Like, I think Jenny, given how she grew in her prep last year, obviously her training age is greater now. She's been training, that's another year of training under her belt, so she's not going to grow every single prep. But I still believe that she can grow up until about 6 weeks out. Then you can maybe still take lift progressions in them final 6 weeks, but that's more enabling you to maintain muscle. Whereas between now, 15 weeks out and 6 weeks out, I believe she can still grow. So I don't want to pull the food down, because that's your food, that's your most anabolic tool, is your food. So to remove food and remove food, but keep cardio where it is, doesn't make sense to me right now, when instead we can just increase cardio, burn more calories through that sense, or create a greater deficit through that sense, and also create a greater demand for fuel. So meaning them carbohydrates that are already in her plan, she will be utilising them better now that she is starting her day off with 40 minutes on the stepper.
As much as you were saying, just so that no one gets confused, is this is not a prime condition to grow, and if our only goal was to grow, we wouldn't have cardio in there. But when you do get up and do that cardio and you create that demand for food, and your body just becomes that bit more efficient at burning through everything. My calories are still pretty high, my sessions are still strong, I'm still taking progressions, and last year, even while training at home and we only really had access to free weight, I still managed to grow a lot. My glutes and stuff when I first started my prep last year were okay, and they 100% grew at home, and just doing lots of basics, getting strong at a hip thrust and things like that. So just
again, and then that's the case for everybody. I think when you transition from prep to off season to prep, although you don't look great in the first few weeks, you are actually becoming more efficient. At the end of an off season, you're not that efficient. Your body is saturated with carbohydrates, your insulin sensitivity is down, and your gut is probably not working as efficiently as it could. Your digestion's not going to be as good. So when you start lowering your food and increasing your cardio, you kind of alleviate that stress on your gut, and you start becoming more sensitive. So in theory, the first 5 to 10 weeks of prep should be far more productive than the last 5 to 10 weeks of the off season.
I don't know, I just see people as soon as they start prep, they say, the aim isn't to grow now. And it's not that your aim in prep should be to grow, because it obviously isn't. It's just that, why would you completely disregard the fact that you can still eat a fair amount, you've still got a high protein intake, your training can still be good, and you can still take lift progressions. You absolutely can make some growth. We're not saying that this is the optimal growth phase, but why switch your mindset to I'll not grow now?
Yeah, that's what I should have said there, is that you shouldn't be lowering your calories drastically in the first few weeks, because then you're missing out on that opportunity where your body does become more efficient. So some people might not want to spend too long in a prep because they feel that then they're missing out on other things in life, and they may think, I just want to do a 12-week prep. But if you're in that position where you're the condition Jenny was at 20 weeks out, if you start your prep at 12 weeks out, you would have to almost half your calories to try and get that weight off in time, and there'd be such a huge sense of urgency, you wouldn't have time to think about maintaining lifts or getting stronger as well as losing fat. And just by doing so, lifting more weight, more reps in the session, you're creating a greater demand for energy. So rather, if you were getting weaker and lifting less weight, doing less reps with a given weight, you wouldn't be burning as many calories in that session. Whereas now, if Jenny's continually getting stronger in her session, she's doing more weight on her RDL, her leg press, her presses, she's going to create that demand for energy in itself.
Basically, this phase, as much as it maybe we haven't dropped off as much body fat as we'd like, I think that now we're at that, you know, kind of 16-week out mark, 15-week out mark, things are starting to pick up. And that was the whole reason why, and I've spoke about this, and I am going to do a whole other video on my post-show experiences, all 3 of them, and what happened with my reverse and things last time, because it's something that I get a lot of questions about, and it wasn't the best. I didn't have a really structured reverse in the beginning. It wasn't as what I would have liked it to be, and I've learned a lot from that. And I think a big part of that, and it's, you don't think about that at the time because you're just like in that post-show phase, you're not thinking about the next one. Whereas like I'm paying for that now because I wasn't as on it as I should have been, for many reasons, and I'm not saying it's as simple as that, but yeah, I feel like there's a lot that we will implement this year in my post-show phase that didn't happen last year, that will mean that the next time I come to prep, we're not in this situation, and we're not in that season, like in off season. We were at a point where my body fat was quite high, but we still needed to push up because my health wasn't right, because my, you know, I still wasn't fully recovered.
Like, we're doing 20-week prep, but like, I think next year it could be 14 weeks, 16 weeks. It doesn't have to be 20.
Yeah.
Just I wanted to give ourselves plenty of time so there wasn't any kind of last minute trying to get weight off. We've now got 20 weeks in. Even if Jenny at this point this week, she's maybe felt that she's not lean enough yet, and she's starting to see the changes now, but thinking you're not lean enough yet at 16 weeks out isn't a worry, because most people don't start their prep until then, or even maybe a few weeks later. So, you know, we've got 20 weeks to play with, 16 to go. And I still think comfortably cruising to being in condition 16 weeks from now.
Okay, and I've just got one last question. How do you find coaching me through this prep? Because you coached me through off season, but this is the first time you've ever...
It's pretty simple. Probably better because you're out of the house more. Doing cardio.
Thanks.
Getting steps.
Just less bothering you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I feel like it's something, we might even do a whole video on it at some point about being coached by your partner, because I do think that it's, like, I was scared of it at first, like, to let you have full control, and for me to, like, I always say this, I have to learn to be like, no, it's fine, I'll just do, but I know that we align a lot on how we think anyway.
Yeah.
And I know that you want the best for me, and I think that's a really good advantage of it, is that you have a partner who's a coach and who really knows what they're doing, that no one on this earth is going to want better for me than you.
Exactly.
So yeah, I'm glad that I'm not a bad client.
Just at 8 times.
That was my little 4 weeks into prep update, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and please remember to like and subscribe.